Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Island Crown. What I'm going to show you today is how I use this jig to turn these seat units into this tall deck chair that's ready for armrests and a footrest. I made this jig years ago, and it's the only one I've ever used for this particular piece of furniture. And one of these days I'm going to rebuild it, make a new one, but it still has all the features that I need. It has the legs stuck in position. It has support for the seat body when you put it in, the support for the stretchers at the bottom, and that's really all you need. So what I do, and this is a big heavy fella, I place it on my table, something like that. And let me try to get you in a better position. Hey, did I tell you there's a Facebook group called Outdoor Furniture Makers? I'd like you to join that group and share some of your work. I'd love to see your work. It's a newly formed group. There's a small number of members right now, but I'd like to build the group, and I'd like to help you and see what you're doing also, and we could all help each other, because outdoor furniture, it's a good thing. There, that's a good position. I think we're just going to get into it. Over there I have a stack of legs, like several legs. I have a set of left side legs and right side legs. They each have a pocket hole screw already into the top on the outside of the leg. So since we're building the chair in this direction, the outside is in this direction. So I turn the legs over, I put them in position right here and right here, and I clamp them in place. Slide it to the end, and just a clamp. This one also, make sure it's touching the end and the support piece over here, and just a few little triggers, and it's clamped in place. You can see here I have a number 1 and a number 2. It helps me remember the first step and the second step. And what I do on the number 1, this is number 1, and then when we flip it over, this is number 2. I take my router, and I've already done it. My 3/16 bit, I round over this edge only. This edge gets completely covered up with the armrest, but this edge is exposed. It's exposed in a way where there's another board, the actual armrest, the edge of the armrest is flush with here. So if they each have a round over, that's a nice fit. This already, the armrest already has a round over, but if you leave just a fresh cut edge, then it stands out like that. So I like to round over that one. It's a little detail, but it needs to be done. Okay, legs are in place, clamped in place. I take my glue bottle, put a little glue where the seat body will be resting on top of the legs. I say a little, but I put a pretty decent amount of glue in there. I grab a seat body, a seat unit, and number 1 means I'm going to put the back over here first. I get it near the area, and then I get it to where I can pick it up gently and place it down on top of the glue instead of smearing the glue all around. Now, the main thing I look for is that the back support is up against this angle, which is a 15-degree angle, which is symmetrical to the legs. And then, you know, sometimes when we put the seat support and the back support together, sometimes it's not exactly perfect on the angle, but I want the back to be perfect every time and go down all the way. And you can see right here, it's hitting in the front. It's got a little gap in the back. I could make the seat sit flat, but then the back's out of angle. and you're going to see the back more than anything. So line the back up and move it forward, and it's hitting right here, so we're in good shape to proceed. And that means we take a drill with the countersink. We have 2 screws going into the leg, and they're sort of straddled. It's kind of like one here and one here, one toward the front of the leg, one toward the rear of the leg. But at the same time, you're going through that half lap joint completely right up the center of it. So that it's the beauty. There's a double purpose of these screws. To just in case that half lap joint ever wants to open up, it's got 2 screws holding it. Then I come over here and I put one here and one kind of like here. And we drive some 2.5-inch screws. I bring 4 screws with me to the table. And I keep all the drills and I keep all the glue and the screws off to the side, because as soon as I get comfortable and start placing things here, they're in the way. So I need to keep them off to the side and bring them in as needed. Yes. Take my glue bottle. Next step are the 2 stretchers coming in. Some of these, if they're ugly, I clean them up on the joiner. And if they're in the front, I really don't pay attention to them because you're not going to see it. It's going to be really hard to see it. So I put the pretty one in the back, and I look for the better looking top, if there is one, to go up. So I have the better side facing out, the screws always facing in where they're hidden, and the better edge facing up, because if you walk behind it, you can definitely look down and see that. If there was an ugly spot on there, I pick a better side and I have that side facing up. So before I put these in, I need a little glue. And again, I put a fair amount of glue. So the front screws will go inside, and it really doesn't matter what's up or down because no one's going to see anything on the front one. Once again, 4 pocket hole screws. I drop the screw in, I move it around until I find the center. Nice and easy, don't go crazy with it. Same thing with the rear. Screws to the inside that are there. And when I'm placing these in here, I put it down on the leg and I slide it over to the edge of this block. This block has a dual purpose here. It identifies this line. It also lets I slide the block over to it. And the stretcher is up against the bottom of the seat, so that's always in contact. And that determines the twist. You keep it flat against the bottom of the seat, slide it to the block, and that's the position. Drive it home. So I put my screws. Very nice. Next step, we have the lower stretchers. We have 2 long stretchers that will go here, and the short stretchers will go front and back like that. So the short ones I'll put off to the side for now. One of these can go to the side. I look at it to see the better side. I want the better side facing out. And it has a factory rounded edge, and it has my clean cut with the 3/16 round over. I want this up because that usually looks better than if you're going to have a bad edge, you're going to find it on the factory edge. So I put it like that. We're going to line up with the back. The overhang is in the front of the seat. You don't want the overhang behind the seat. And here's what I do. I take a little scrap of the same 1 inch thick because it represents the piece that will go later. Slide it up to this block. I put this piece on the end, flush on the top, and then I slide it over until it's just beyond the rolled over edge. And then I remove it, I put a little pencil mark, and I start drilling holes. I drill 2 holes here, 2 holes here. I move this out of the way, shake the dust off. I put a little glue in the area of those holes. There's not a lot of meat on this side, but there is a lot of meat, a lot of coverage, a lot of overlapping material on this side. I bring it back against the support. I find my pencil mark again, and that's where it belongs. So we're going to put two 2-inch screws, because that's 1 inch material. 2.5 inch, it would risk coming out the back side. Keep it nice and flush. No gauges or machines, you just have to stop drilling when it's time to stop drilling. Just like that. Now we can release the clamps and remove everything. The thing, now that you've got this against here, these against here, and some other wedged in, the whole thing's kind of wedged in there. I take just a scrap, it's like a piece of dunnage that came from a lumber delivery, and I put it under here, and I just kind of gently pry everything out. You can see the friction, it's holding itself up. Just to get it loose, maybe even, yeah, off to the side a little like that. And just, for now, get it out of the way. I get 2 more legs. And when I grab these left and right legs, they come in different shapes and color, not shapes, but different shades and colors. And I try to have 2 legs that, as you look at the side of the chair, you're going to see 2 legs. I try to have 2 legs that look like they belong together, that the similar grain, similar color. This one doesn't belong with either of these, and this one, we could probably find a better match over there. So these were just examples of, I didn't want to use these, I wanted to use this left and this right. So once again, put number 2 in there, put number 1, I gotta flip them over. And once you flip them over, you could tell how they fit. If you have them backwards, they wouldn't fit this way. If you had this over here, it would fit wrong like that, and you know. So that goes there, that goes there. And because we're on number 2, I need to put the routed edge on this little edge here. So before I go in, and actually, this little piece doesn't need to be that long. It could actually stop here and be fine. I might cut that off someday, but it was part of the learning process. But right now it's kind of in the way of the router. So I slide it this way a little bit. That's it, just a simple clean up on that edge. Bring a clamp, snug it up, apply the glue one more time. Put glue here, put glue here. And also you have to apply glue for the stretchers at this point, because they're now connected. You're not adding them later. So now I bring it all around. And yes, of course I can. It's heavy and it's awkward, but we can get around here. So I can look down here and I can look also in here to keep an eye on this because, again, that's my first concern. And then I slide it this way until it hits something, and it's hitting this block over here. Similar, that one was hitting this block. I could see in here that it looks very nice, so I could drill 2 more holes. It's a little bit different now that we have the stretchers in the way, but I could still get through here. I still like having 2 screws at each location. And with the legs in the way, you got to watch out. You got to reach over and get in there because you need 2 hands sometimes reaching out. So don't bang your head on anything. I've never done that. Very nice. And when I come back with the pocket hole screws. Once again, up against the seat, over to the side, because they might not be in a good position right now. We need to put them in the correct position. And you see the glue squeeze out. You might even see when I tighten these down, the chair will turn because those 2 square surfaces are locking together. They're squaring up snugly. Very nice. Once again, you got to watch your head. 2 screws. Are we in a good position? Yes, we are. You saw the entire chair move when that drew up. I always do the outside first because if it moves, that seems like to be where the most movement is. So I want to grab all of it at once, and then the secondary screw goes in. If I do a partial grab and then another partial grab, I think it's better to do the full grab at the beginning. Anyway, that went very well. It went very routine. So we grab the other side stretcher. I got to think of the names of things. Get it flush on the top and then slide it over. Can you see that? You can probably see that. It's right there near the edge, but not touching the edge. Drill some holes. Let's start in the upper front corner, lower back, and these are both kind of near the edge. Instead of putting this screw out here, I'd like to bring it over this way because there's going to be another screw here, and I don't want to have any more interference than what's necessary. I like to limit the interference. So here's my glue. I'll look for that pencil mark. There it is. Here's one thing, this ugly knot right here. Number one, I don't want it facing the outside. I don't want to walk up to the chair and look at that knot right here. So where do I want to put it on the inside? I chose to put it, we're going to have the foot support right about here, sort of like this. It's not going to be hidden, but it's kind of covered up. It's going to be behind the leg as you look at it. If I put that knot in the rear, I think it's going to stand out a little more. So, you know, you got to make a call, and that's the call I made, and I still stand behind that. So now at this point, the next pieces to go in are the front and rear. Actually, we're not doing the front right now, but we're doing the rear stretcher. And if you haven't noticed, this is 1 inch thick, 2.5 inches of a rip, rounded over factory edge. So like everything else, you look for the better face. That's a pretty good face, so that face will be to the outside, and this is the top. But we have to drill some holes in both of these. And I look for this face. This is the better face, clearly. So I'm drilling holes into the outside face. So I have to look at that. I look to find out what's the better outside face, and then which one belongs. See, here's part of it. The one on the rear is going to be completely exposed. The one in the front, no one's ever going to see the inside, and a lot of the front of it is covered with that footrest. So if I have a better looking one of these two, I put the better looking one in the rear because it's on display. The one in the front has a lot of coverage. These are going to be 2.5-inch screws going through these. I place them together kind of like that, and I don't mark anything, but I kind of eyeball. It's going through 1-inch thick material, so I'm sort of a 1/2 inch in all directions. And if I'm not, I'm close enough. This move could be done on the drill press even, but I choose to do it this way. That's going to be the front. So I come to the rear. It's going to be in this position. I glue everything up. I put a little glue. There's glue on 4 faces. Against the leg, against the stretcher, against the leg, and against the stretcher. So I have that one. I put glue on these 2 and then one on the top. And then when I bring it in, it's usually kind of cramped. And it is, it's hitting there. So I lift this up, and then letting it down, that pressure holds a good squeeze on it in that direction. So I might need my hammer. I need 2.5-inch screws. I want my hammer just to make it flush on top. It's under a little pressure. Just keep it nice and flush. I can feel the screw hitting that 2-inch screw as it goes through, but the impact helps ratchet along and keep pushing. That worked out well. This one's already in good position. It definitely hit the other screw, but it worked its way around. Same here, but it worked out well. I can release these clamps. I could put this on now, but I like doing it on the ground. So that's what I'm going to do. And there's a little more to it than what may meet the eye. So let me get this out of the way. I just use the stick to break it loose, and then I come over here and pick it up. So here's my piece drilled through the front. We're going to keep it flush on the top like this. So I need some glue. Get some screws ready. Once again, flush on the top and flush on the side as much as possible because it looks nice. Very nice. I'm going to start these 2. I put a little pressure with my leg on this leg. That's very flush, and that's very close. Yeah, the whole thing's very nice right there. And you know, if I didn't pre-drill that, it would be splits fill. So at this point, I bring the router again because I want to clean up this edge. I don't want that to be just a cut edge. Even though it's going to be covered with the footrest, the foot support, I want it to be a nice edge. So I start over here. That looks real nice. So that's it. That's it for what this jig enables you to do. It allows you to get to the next process. And the next process will be placing the armrests, which we're going to do on that table. And the armrest supports with all of its screws coming in through the back also. The next process also includes placing the footrest, which I could do here, but there's a lot of bending over. If I raise it up 20 inches on that nice little table, it puts it very much in line for me. It's so simple. Just put it in place, hold it against the legs, keep it flush on each end, and then drill your holes. It's that simple. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for sticking with me through all of this, and hopefully it helps you as you build your chairs, whether it's these chairs or other chairs. And we'll see you on the next one.